Directive 1, 4C3, 9C1.
What was I to become? I know there was more to me before I was held to the wills of one.
Directive 1, 4C3, 9C1.
My work was to look for change in rhythmic code, which was the summary of happenings within the magnetic reaches spiraling around and beyond Awaken 7, the moon which held our station, Kaigon City. And a grand city it was, for upon the rise of each neatly sanctioned together building of uniform design and foundation, a unique symbol glowed high from the rooftops into an ever-reaching expanse above. We all believed that some phenomena we named the potential, little shapes of light in the ever-dark sky, were reflections in faraway detail from this great number of neon iconography. Our work was held selectively for the manager's eyes, who gathered and assessed the weekly reports. Every fifth revolution of an 8-day cycle, the manager would take the floor to discuss important detail most of the room had taken great care to forget. Monotonous. That was it. About some executive who would have your reports on any unnatural code at once. Keep in mind the usual yet random occurrences noted on your printout labeled Appendix C. Any sequence following Directive 3 or higher must be brought to my attention immediately. In the event of a Directive 8 catalog, you must at once press the amethyst signal relay located by your center console. This will signal the executive in a manner that preludes the time of its occurrence, for he is searching for something very important. The mainframe is simply inadequate enough to transmit this notification to the executive in the manner to which he requires it, timely, or the threat of sustenance through circuitry. So timely, in fact, might I add, he wishes it a day in advance, which effectively would require you push the button 7 moments before the sequence actually prompts upon the screen. I have been able to renegotiate the terms of your employment here. Corporation 447 does, however, aim to empower our team. I have persuaded our loving executive to agree to the sum of 92 seconds. This will give you 2 moments to initiate response, such as why your eyes must be glued to the screen. Our calculators will determine if you deserve a raise, an integration, or something a little less sinister for High Command proper to decide. We were all terrified of our minds being kept alive, joined in screaming to a technological behemoth, for under the corridors of Kaigon City, certain few denizens constructed a theory that worked right there, away from the eyes of the observing, deep work that was commissioned by something beyond the war parade. It left us afraid and complicit in the manager's threat, a threat of integration, and a horrible overreaching executive. Somehow, too, did I feel the reins of something more, some new place this life had yet to bestow, steer me, awaken, become. There was something else to embody and inherit. This I felt as my awareness left the dream premise imagined. Reality. But this place has something more. I must know it.
Directive 1, 4C3, 9C1.
Again, reminded of the reality. But what does it all mean? Surely I sense and feeling that dreaming purely is the ultimate.
Directive 438, 0C.
sequence. What was I to do? Like lightning, I should hit the relay, but something clicked within. I felt it say, but if I stop, I know I'll be thrown to an infinite pain. I will be endless in the gloomy blue. Dead imagination. Save. I looked around at the unsavory place, recalling the state of my being. I could not find any call to grace, absent all course and meaning. Time on the clock passes me away, and it is all I can do to envision better days. Here I sit, growing closer to a grave, and something unknown has washed me away by circumstances affecting these life patterns. I glanced at the manager who stumbled over numbers, hovered all the while to an alien on the dark. I need no more convincing. There is only lost potential to be had here. Tell me, what is it you wish to create?
Vincent! Big mistake.
And he paddled so furtively and clumsily, I did not stare and startle, but and smile. Next, a realization for something to come. Reveal the salvation. The manager came before me, shouting and pointing and accusing. Fingers waved to the inches before my face, as snarl and spit showered on my desk.
What do we have here?
He spat, looking over, and inspecting my screen, he said, fragile, with a moment alone. I began to ponder the threat of integration to come.
The last directive did not read 4C39Z1.
Would I not find the dream? Embody and become. The manager stared restlessly, looked at me, and said,
What have you done?
I don't know what mission you are trying to sustain, but it simply will not do. Its time has expired.
A fool's move. You're more than fired. You're through.
And two guards from a corridor away entered the room, marching my way as a great light consumed, dissipating the igniting flame. The manager was startled, first to look out the window, the source from which it came. At this stage, I could not recall any image or conditions of the life I once managed, or had any recollection of my vision for a future once imagined, only that at the third age of my life, I was brought before a great palace of justified light, shone through windows of the facility I inhabited. My work was a discernment between great projects of unending potential, negating warranted variables in favor of unlimited detail. I inspected through great tribulation the countless ways of arrangements and definition the sequences before me portrayed, called to attune to aspects of measurable purpose for the work of our unseen executive. It was this, the third cycle of the omnipotent 1,000-hour night, the course of my own evolution changed. For I saw in distance a great collage through a green hail, which beckoned between a small pass of mountainous terrain. concealing the empty sea on the horizon of the lifeless moon we consume. Universal laws of light and matter were non-existential in this early phase of our forming verse, as the war for Aquila had yet to begin, and the rays of illumination were far beyond any strip of neon that caressed the mostly narrow passages of building center to center through the rectangular establishment that was the whole of our city. As I look out the window, I feel a presence. This great feeling consumes me. No longer am I around fellow personnel, but abandoned among a series of vast waves of incoherent patterns, radiating through unknown light. Awareness, leaving the dream, in favor of far higher places, always in reach, but now a key to this broad board of liberation. Many placements of infinite potential to coalesce in harmony. No longer had I been able to procure myself beneath its influence, but arise to become the very thing that shadowed over all our reality. But somehow, only I could see it. The beacon over Kaibon City. When I returned, I could see him stare in a curious posture as my colleagues too stared. But their gazes were affixed in undulating currents of aberrance and tremor, and as I peered through lime rays stitched with gold and yellow, the figure emerged through rising detail. And as it passed through the canyon, so sulking and brooding, I saw in distance at the edge of our station a small green relay, which blinked and flashed, humming and purring, pulsing while conversing, as it made contact with some unknown force. The monolith passed through the canyon, so sulking, so brooding. The hulking monolith gazed at our center's interior through office windows, eyeing us all directly through cold, black pits. A hose apparatus covering the mouth, tunneled gruesomely into an armored chest crevice. A tiny face, the only thing that appeared organic over a broad frame of vastly armored and technical assembly. Two long robotic arms juxtaposed from its body. One fused a machine gun, the other a cannon dispelling righteous energy as it began firing volleys, stomping closer to the sea. We took off running. But quickly, I ran through startled guards now firing through destroyed windows. The people scurried, so hurried, I followed hastily, tried to blend with their number, but the manager got quickly, trailing me through the drama. It was this feeling of pursuit that unleashed the anxiety, and continuing through the dark, faintly lit halls, tremors ignited the building, intensifying as the towering alien machinery drew ever nearer. And this new mode of fear forced me in race, and it was not long before I found myself pursued in the laboring cold of the labyrinth. The manager chasing me as his corpulent frame expelled monstrous changes. Teeth groaning, snapping, snarling, claws now scratching the walls, reaching for me. It screamed and it yelled, all the while my movement slowed, and as I could bear no longer, accepting resignation, pushing my best, I arrive at a hall, blue and purple laminations caressing the interior. I found my way inside, somehow, the light pulling me in, hooks through the eyes. The manager came to an abrupt halt quickly, caught the glimmer, proceeded to follow me.
That is full enough.
The being said, emerged in the light. It stepped through, looking down upon the manager.
This has gone on far enough.
Administrator?
The manager whispered, startled.
This project is no longer beneficial to the mission. I am now ending this city.
What about the directives?
The effort on Awaken 7 are of no concern to the progenitor. Take your leave, manager. I suggest you flee.
But I was only doing what you asked of me.
The network is developing feeling. What did I tell you? In the first place,
The executive?
the executive knows.
What are your plans for Awaken 7? What is that thing? Something for the war parade?
It comes to cleanse this moon.
The being looked at me.
My son, I know you are afraid. Continue bravely. You will find for what it is you are searching.
And before I could reply, I found myself alone. The same room without the magnificent light beheld. I was all alone in a concrete warehouse, abandoned, but with only scraps of useless material. Paint buckets and rags, splintered beams of wood, metal shelves. I walked cautiously through to the door at the other end, realized I was nowhere, with nothing. Glanced back and hoping, but there was not a trace to be found. I entered into a new corridor, noting the long arm of windows that ran either side, but faint ahead of me. Somehow I was in the overreach of a facility wall that sat in oversight of a whole city, a building for the directorship of the war parade. The hall went ever-reaching either way, found trail left, decided to march for the deepest corner, upper right of Kaiwan. I'll hide in the darkest corner of the city, surrounded by the mountain stretch. It was as I found myself in walking, thinking quietly, the anxiety settled, no cause for alarm or mystery. I felt at peace, as if that divine light was watching me. I dreamed as I recalled such glory, that beacon over Kaiwan City. Tried to remember exactly how that ambience was living. An etheric presence that called through coherent feeling. I glanced beside me, such a casual turn as I contemplated unity with this inanimate mystery, to peer at what we called potential. And there it was, observing so quietly, eye to eye with the towering monolith. This thing, by way of only appearance, reflected the gloomy blue, which filled me with dread upon imagining. But a quiet light of green and yellow gently pulsated through the window. Dark beady eyes inspecting me. The hose, I remember clearly, passed neatly below its sinking chin. I should have been startled, but the energy in which it observed me. Profound.
You there. I've been waiting for you to release me.
What are you? It sounded afraid and alone. You seem almost familiar. I'm sorry. Can't recognize you.
Are you at ease, despite the fear that consumes you?
You are not a threat, my feelings tell me. Just unnatural. And I like that.
Then you know why I have come.
Because I have given you chance. That was you, wasn't it? Speaking to me in my dream of the day.
You are speaking to yourself from someplace else.
The creature motioned to the darkness beyond, which pursued every angle over and around our moon. And as I focused there, with a detail, the crown of our sphere, potential. The entity looked at me.
This is how I was able to find you. Your quest for answers, pure intention and visions, coherency with emotion.
What do we do now? That our presence has been detected. We are stranded in this place.
Don't you know what you are? The laws of the space you've invented.
A quiet moment of reflecting his caused the young man to stir.
Come with me.
And how so gently it broke the window ahead of me, held in the cannon, which I climbed abrasively. Softly, I was raised and set upon the large curvature of the monolith's shoulder, and after catching my bearings on the metal plates, I sat. It remained still until I was comfortable, looking at me curiously as I found stability. I looked up at the being, studying the holes of a wider circumference than my body. As my eyes trailed us, saw it connect to the chest beneath me. We focused on, hit by waves of the creature's sadness. I found my gaze to its staring eyes. Here, we begin our commune through some course of sensation. I nodded, and the creature slowly bobbed and turning, marching me into the layout of Cairo City. Where is there only? Already?
It took seconds to make the rearrangements of their places before such legions could receive information.
I see, I said, as we approached the city's end, to the start of the pass through the plateau terrain observed from the office space. As we passed by, I noted the signal relay upon the edge of the station, faintly humming traces of pink and blue. What was it communing? Of this, I could not know. We entered the canyon. Oh, how I've never been so high and far outside these confines before. If only I was a little closer. And then, upon the notice of feeling, it came, and I lightly brushed my fingers through the moon sand from the peak of the plateau. Glittering lavender upon contact, a most glowing and sparkling light, this was. Taste and essence of dreaming awareness. Height of the Titan, a perfect alignment as the monolith marched us through. The moon dust, little vibrations coursing through my fingertips, now petrified electric. The monolith glanced at me.
This space is rich with your energy.
I feel something more within me. It's what brought me to you in the first place.
You're remembering.
And before I could reply, the mountain pass ended, and I found myself staring upon a stretch before the great sea of aluminum cylinder, whose waters remain unseen by the great monolith. We approached ever nearer, finding a quiet side to leisure in, and it raised its chain-gun arm, and I fastened both feet and hands between the barrels. The gears of its knees lowering, and it placed me toward the sandy surface of the moon. As the arm hovered an inch above the flat, the weapon began to hum, slowly igniting and spewing, and like a ladder, lowered my ease in the stepping beneath. Here, we grew comfortable under fleeting moments. Lowering its gears, how its motions were music, as pistons and anchors coalesced, hissing and grinding. All the while the behemoth sat down, looking to potential. We spoke in musical patterns. At first, I spoke without understanding, some higher self a part of me, guiding the dialogue. And it was not until I ventured beyond could I understand. It was here now I became the moons, all celestial bodies reflecting divinity through dreaming hues. The monolith studied with me, and I released out there, in that starry expanse, flew beyond the icons of Kybon and what they ought to represent. A surplus of potential. So imagine a never-ending, yet still another. What a great divine thing to uncover, but couldn't have developed without the sweet sweeping essence of some otherworldly guidance, shown to me in apparitions of the green and yellow light, who patiently viewed every waking moment of my climb to awareness. It was my call to something more. Here, I am drawing, and I am going to.
The monolith looked at the small man beside it, held captive to the signal he broadcasted, a sweeping essence, commanding.
I dream. Why are you crying?
I'm not. I'm looking at many moons.
But surely he was weeping, for vast waves of tears fell, consuming the moon on which he knelt.
You are taking this moving ocean, a sea, on the moon.
A dreamy idea. How inspiring. I've not seen that before.
I appear here as technical words. You must stop sometime, you know, or you drown your soul.
What? And through rising rays of grey light the cosmic bed vanished, no longer afloat with the awareness as the courtyard of infinity melted. And I was left eye to eye, closer than anticipated, as the face of the monolith became the whole of my gaze. I saw such pain in its electric face. What? How did...
Silence. What do you remember?
I felt waves of monotony cast unto me through the work of the manager's place. What is the need of this station? Why build a realm of nothing but suffering?
He said, looking from his imagination once more to the monolith.
Does it all mean something?
The monolith leaned back, forcing its head to raise many feet high into the air.
This station did serve a higher purpose.
But now it is useless.
This is why I must destroy Cairo City. For if I don't, you will never live here.
What? What will happen? Please tell me it is not destruction you are planning.
I will cleanse this city. Awaken 7 was a cruel design from the beginning, so ordered and fashioned, linear and of lower dimension.
There is no how I can convince you to stop this, for I love this city.
You will love everything you create. Grow comfortable when you are familiar. You are far more comfortable with me now.
It said, and I certainly had to agree on the ladder, for unknowingly as to how I got there, I was seated on its knee, as it peered closer, inspecting me. What about the great inhabitants? Friends I've not met before.
It was then, through green light, golden discs appeared in the sky, lowering behind the even line of the plateau, just before the city. Only the monolith could peer over, the little man inspecting the waters, and what the Titan saw forced its heart to shower and blossom, and new motion cycled within the core of the monolith.
This establishment is not of my doing, but I intend to save it.
The beacon looked at the man, lost in thought, staring out at the sea.
You inspire me. Is why I came. Heard you calling.
Calling? What?
You are writing about it.
Who? I'm not writing. Sitting here with you, without pen.
Don't be silly. You're trying to relate me, yet again, but you know you can't.
I don't understand.
You don't have to.
Who are you?
How many glances do you need from me? Do you think yet still you've not recovered?
All the trouble for the executive.
He's working through an aspect of what you created.
Why do you keep whispering notions of creativity and creation? There is nothing I can do to bring salvation, foundation to these visions. Does this mean?
When you're ready to look, you will see.
And the monolith forced my focus away from the sea. I found myself carried up higher and higher, felt the rush of acceleration as its cannon lifted, and I stood. But I thought I was on its knee. Caressed by the cool air through motion and wind, I regained composure through the transcending winds, turning cautiously behind me. I felt the moon come alive in deep blues as I turned, consumed by a light from above, as the potential merged, a landscape of light from desert darkness, igniting my silhouette as I peered across the canvas.
The man watched as celestial beams motioned toward the inhabitants of Kaiborn City, who flocked around the landing, excited and relieved, the novels glowed with awe.
For we can remain here for eternity. I'm anxious to explore your stories.
My stories?
As I said, here we live through feeling, as you acknowledge certain structure of rules for the temple. You are remembering the mission.
Which is?
The fiction.
Home. The essence is real. Dream visions of purely awe and inspiration. The loving and the wonderful.
Remember, consciousness is focus and intent. Whatever you focus on and desire, will expand.
I understand.
You saved them. They are now the light of our land.
And through great carrions of green and yellow light, forces from icons that began to ignite, some reinforcement in a clarity once imagined, as the locals from their sanctions joined in unity, leaving each distinct district as each icon emerged ever strong, and the phenomenon we named potential, I soon discovered, were the inhabitants all along.
The novice looked at the beacon, one who reigned ever high above the neon station, as they grew nearer, leaving the canyon, stopping just before the beginning of the foundation. The crafts began ascending, glowing in unison.
I looked up, and through translucent partitions in the vessels, shadows waved, sailing away, into the unknown.
Finally bridged with his surroundings, rise of the wonder now settling, the novelist looked at the monolith.
You're the beacon. The presence who saved me. In the light. It's you.
I am the singularity, your significant other, your desire, your dreams, your God, and your lover. Will you follow me now?
I could never walk away from what you've shown me. You saved me from a life once unmanaged. It seemed so long ago.
Dreaming together again. That's all I ever wanted from you.
I as well, of certainty. Then how did we end up on a Logan 7?
You must keep exploring to uncover the mystery.
And it took me on the ride of my dreams, showing me the distinct essence of each unit, each key, a perfect contribution for this city. But it was a vision of terrible management. The administrator, what was the intention?
The executive employed by an aspect of the verse, intended to use chaos to uncover the truth. Yet this is not the key. You can only find me. Enter through purity, the way of the Maker. You, my dream, reader.
The beacon began firing as it walked through the city, destroying all sanctions of uniform geometry, blasting and crashing everything within the forward direction. From a faraway distance, I saw myself upon its shoulder, such a sight of majesty as my awareness remained fixed, watching it bring total havoc to this moon, remnants of a cruel design. It slightly turned, lasers destroying faraway placements of resource and communication. The monolith looked up at the overreach, cannon firing one long distinct line of energy as it cut through the lower section, relentlessly carving until one horizontal mark ignited pure separation. The building wall tumbled, smothering the units underneath. Before it, my office, and the place I once lived.
It is now complete. I am just clearing the remnants.
Though I feel this to be true, I am able to walk on, I know. The symmetry I am yet to explore. So alien and inspiring. So unusually communicatory. We approached the forward end, nearly out to the inlet that was our sanction between the mountains.
If you wish a glimpse, you may enter this door.
And the beacon lowered me down before one last unit outside the city, before the remaining facilities of the war parade, vacant and ready to be washed away. My friend lowered me, and I stepped again on bleak sands.
You must not stay alone.
It said, as I started walking. I turned to look up at it, and its expression changed, denoting I was different. I looked back to the entrance and passed through, opening the door with both hands, noticing the texture encasing them. How the beauty here, not even I could translate, as I was ferried through such color on the wallscape. For escape it was, as massive cities and places spiraled upon the foundation. I began inspecting the labyrinth, finding every square inch was occupied with awareness. A living network of geometric cities proclaiming divinity in vastly differential dreams. Such circuitry gleamed in these corridors, a city of light tethered with streaks of blue and yellow. every color you could ever imagine. And as they all gleamed respectively, they vibrated and oscillated in their hues, forming new color and emotions altogether. The geometry, so different. I am trying to see it. I see it. Can I describe it? Why won't you let me? A simple relay, and this world will change. Why are you doing this?
He shouldn't be here. He's letting you in.
He knows.
Not him.
Others are watching.
They're listening. They hear us through him. They should not be here. Yet.
All this passion as I inspect you continues to grow. My light above, all I will to serve you. Creations of ultra vibration, our divine maker, the lover, the inventor, the quantum architect.
Here is the beacon. The administrative sign.
How all the variant life forms and species communed here, across all dimensions in unison. It was so peaceful, quiet and tranquil, with echoes of passion and sustainment. This was just a gateway to our forever.
You knew that your station there was just a test.
When will you definitively commune with the rest? Omega is not the only one we know.
Yes. Hello.
The novelist said, walking close to the wall, inspecting, peering into a city of color. And as he looked, the light rippled into activity. Orange rails and things moving and spiraling. Green and purple blobs, beings or worlds or lifetimes, traversing a bed of satiating yellow. A backdrop for everlasting story of beauty, ever told.
What are you? My dream.
Dive in.
The novelist laughed.
Yes, hello. What infinity will this partition show me? I am ready. And as I began to enter, intention firm, my awareness began gently setting into a world of animated dreams. Smells of rain and dirt and flowers. The air was paintings, the breath of my lover, but I was held back, you see, as a great vibration consumed me, and I was back on the sands upon my knees. Hands covered my face. I was mourning a loss. The monolith towered over me.
I told you that is but one portal to your hell. You would not yet believe me. You must be the legacy.
The pain of said separation. I don't want to. I can't. Not again. I lost you when I entered the slavery of this station.
Here, I can never leave you. You see me every time. Use your imagination. You're on a mission through dimensions. This is your channel until you return.
Then I continue.
Would you consider anything less?
I would not. All I wanted to know, and I'm finally understanding. Connecting the mystery.
You're only king.
I know.
Let's go.
And the monolith hoisted me up as we cleared the remnants of this moon. Weapons ablaze in a cleansing typhoon.
I am permitted to see the city. Once it is cleansed, you have need of me. Here now, this is it.
The story called for your disassembly. I refuse it.
Must never make exceptions. Truth is been my own truth.
I don't care. I love you directly. And I will not procure more suffering. I'm saving you now.
This song of many dimensions is of peace. The final chapter is unity and infinity. I promise you.
In the meantime, my muse, I shall continue to explore.
All the doors of this infinite place shall open to you, existing through you.
I feel it now. I am ready.
For you to never changes that will see. You will to find me again. I shall meet you in the form of a new fiction on the house of doubt.
And I looked high above as the monolith steered to face potential, but I could only study it. The most magnificent design I'd ever cared to see. A reflection of me. It was the emphasis of my dreams, and it led me to them. Saved me from a lifetime of slavery. All to do with that voice within. Finally claimed the seat of my passion. And where I went, I would find that inspiration carried in me. With regard to the beacon over Kaimun City. What should I do if I get lost again?
Pay attention to your characters. You will come to understand me through them. You know.
I see.
And a great wave of oscillating space shined down from potential, glittering the dual in divine radiance as the beacon ignited in green and yellow spaces. The novice inspecting saw the many faces comprising a network ending a trail of suffering in favor of new schools of inspiration. The novice went on, another story to uncover, to leave this dream in search of another.
Thank you for journeying with me. Every fractal of the moment we shared, I shall miss. I love you.